wanted you to know from a doctor's perspective that you are not too old. You are not too late. You got so much left to do. You really can get out there and crush it. And I'm going to share a couple of examples how you can not only live your life thriving, but doing things that you may not have thought possible. Let me give you an example just to out of the get-go. This is a health let's say a goal that this man had. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the Canadian-born Ed Whitlock, but he used to be into running when he was in his teens. He kind of gave it up, and then when he was nearly 70, he was in his 60s. He was like, I'm getting into it again. And I am in my 50th year right now, and maybe this will be me. I don't know. I've never run a marathon. I always tell my wife that I will run at least one marathon. She's run several. In fact, she would never tell you this, but she actually got first place in her age group in a pretty major marathon that takes place once a year in Honolulu, Hawaii. And she literally has a plaque that says first place, Brooke Hemingway. Like, holy crap, she crushed it. Anyway, she keeps crushing it. But I personally have never run a marathon, and I'm in my 50th year. And Ed Whitlock rediscovered his passion for running in around 2000. And at the age of 69, he was legit almost 70. In fact, in his 70th year, not only did he run an epic marathon, but he ran this marathon in record time. In fact, he became the oldest person to run a marathon in under 3 hours. Now, this in and of itself, no matter how old you are, running a marathon in less than 3 hours is pretty epic. Like, that is a 6-minute, 40-ish second mile for 26.2 miles. Like, that is legit. That is not an easy feat. And he did it at 69 years of age. Like, I think I'd be doing good if I ran 1 mile in 6 minutes and 40 seconds or whatnot. I think in high school, I may have run a mile in just under 6, but I remember I nearly threw up afterwards. I think I hit like 5:50 or something. And I was ready to throw up after I ran those 4 laps around the track. And he literally did 6-minute and so many second miles for 26.2 of them at the age of 69 years old. Ed Whitlock, like, holy crap, if he's doing this, so can you. And so many other examples of folks over the years, in fact, over not only just the decades, but think a couple hundred years ago, maybe you've heard of that famous Merriam-Webster dictionary. Well, the guy who actually put out the original, the OG dictionary, Noah Webster, first published this at the age of 70. Maybe that's the magic, the 70 Club. The 70-year-old man, Noah Webster, published that first edition of that dictionary that we use each and every day. I have several copies of it right here at home, of the Merriam-Webster. Noah Webster, at 70 years of age, put out this dictionary. Like, holy crap. Another gal that I shared about in my talk at Align was an amazing woman by the name of Barbara Hillary. Now, she did lots of cool stuff in her early life. She was a nurse. She got a PhD in gerontology. She was a cancer survivor. She was an incredible woman. Barbara Hillary, you got to Google her. There's a couple of cool videos as well. She took up in her 70s, legit, like, the hobby of dog sledding. Like, who does dog sledding anyway? That sounds really tough. It's freaking cold. It's challenging. And she took up this hobby in her 70s. And at the age of 75, in April of 2007 or 2007, she became the first and the oldest African-American woman to set foot on the North Pole. Like, that was pretty darn cool. Like, I'd never even thought of going to the North Pole, but she did it. And then she had heard that this could be done potentially at the South Pole. Hadn't been done before by anybody of her age, anybody in her, a group or what have you. African-American lady of her age never had set foot on the South Pole either. So why stop, right? Why stop at the North Pole? And so at the age of 79, she was almost 80. In fact, she was in her 80th year. She set foot, traveled by foot with the dog sled, doing the thing like that she started in her retirement years, right? She started this hobby of dog sledding. She was the first to set foot, first woman there on the South Pole in her 80th year. In her 80th year. Oh my goodness. Like, Barbara Hillary, you are awesome. Continue to be just an incredible example to each and every one of us. I am like literally amazed at the feats of Barbara, the feats of Ed Whitlock. I mean, even my son was able to share with me. He and his grandmother and my wife got this chance to go to Italy and France this this past year for my mother-in-law's 75th birthday, and they learned that Pablo Picasso at the age of 87 was still producing tons of work, tons of art, tons of engravings. In fact, at the age of 87 he produced 347 engravings in the course of a single year. Pablo Picasso, 87 years old. He was not done yet. And many of you know that I have some lofty goals. I want to be the first surfer to continue surfing to 100 years of age. Never been done before. The record now is 80 some odd. And so I'm planning to crush that. I'm in my 50th year now. I feel like I'm just getting started. I'm still learning new tricks, learning new things. I'm surfing as often as I can, and I want to be that first surfer to continue to surf to 100. So you hold me accountable. Remind me of that goal I have. I also want to save 100 million lives, help 100 million people, because right now, present day, in the US alone, we have about 2 million people right here at home in the US dying of preventable causes. Each and every year, about 2 million people. These are things like heart disease, most cancer, stroke, type 2 diabetes and its complications, obesity, kidney disease, these kinds of things which are almost entirely preventable. We have nearly 2 million people die in the US alone each and every year. So I'm planning to live another 50 years, right? So that's 2 million a year times 50 years. That's 100 million people. In fact, I just got to meet an amazing human this past week, Leah Valencia Key of Valencia Key Design. Many of you may have heard of her. She's been on Oprah. She's on QVC. She's just an incredible human. And she has gotten her amazing products. She sells custom jewelry. In fact, she shared some stories of individuals who are making this jewelry for her in some parts of Africa, trying to earn money to go to. One was nursing school that she mentioned, this purse that she had called Worthy, had that on the label there. So you got to check out Valencia Key Design. She's selling some amazing handmade stuff. And the stories of the people it's helping is just out of this world cool. Well, she has gotten her product into 100 million homes, which is so incredible. She's such a cool human. She is joy. She is love. Leah, if you're listening to this, oh my goodness, you are a gift. You are a gift to the world. I just thank you for being you, for sharing the love, sharing the joy. And I just want to say that may be the secret ingredient. Leah may not even know this, but she's literally discovered the secret ingredient to not just an amazing life, a happy, fulfilled life full of thriving. She is thriving right now. And I know that there was a time in her life where she was barely surviving. She was hopping from one homeless shelter to the next. She had little kids. They all had to sleep on one cot, like one little bed together in a homeless shelter. And now she is thriving, not just surviving life. And I think one of the biggest reasons is because she is full of love, full of joy, full of connection. In fact, that one thing, having connection, having love, having community, will literally add 7 to 10 years to your life. Having this just positive outlook and focus towards your future, like you look forward to tomorrow. I know I'm looking literally legit looking forward to the next 50 years because so much good is going to happen. I'm just feeling so pumped, so inspired to each and every day. And just having that positive outlook can literally add 7 to 10 years to your life, which is actually more powerful than any one single intervention out there that I'm familiar with. Any one single thing, even quitting smoking, which of course I recommend you do quit smoking, but that in and of itself may not even get you an extra decade of life. But living in a place of gratitude, with love, with joy, with a positive future outlook, the data on that is so powerful. And that's why I love to share about this vitamin C of connection, connecting with people, connecting with others, our family, our friends, being joyful, being grateful. And so, Leah, you've discovered this. You're crushing it. Keep doing that. I'm so grateful to have met you and gotten the chance to hang out with you a couple of days at this Align Breakthrough event this past weekend. Was incredible. And so I just wanted to share that none of us here listening I'm sorry, not one, not even the famous Joan, Train with Joan. She's in her 70s. None of us are too old to do whatever is on our heart. You're just not too old. You are not too old. There's so much you can still accomplish. And living in gratitude, living with joy, this may just be your impetus to get out and do, to get out and affect so many lives positively. You've got this. I mean, you've heard all the trite sayings, right? It's just age is just a number, right? Yeah, growing old is optional. 80 is the new 40. That's kind of I did 40 about a decade ago. And I'm going to be honest, when I was in my late, kind of mid to late 30s, I felt like maybe many of you have at one point in your life, you felt like, and I did certainly, that I was kind of falling apart, like legit. I was waking up achy in the morning. I was struggling with a few things, my sleep, my energy. Like I thought I was falling apart. And maybe your doctor has told you you're falling apart and you might be in your late 20s or mid to late 30s or 40s, what have you. That is, I reject it. It is BS. It is total BS. And it's a problem with your BS or your belief system because so much is what you believe. It's powerful. And I just want to tell you, there's so many examples. Hopefully you'll get a chance to listen to my talk on replay. We're going to have the possibility to get access to that entire event. You can purchase that talk on replay. And I hope you'll have a chance to listen to the whole talk. I mentioned many folks who have accomplished great things and they're much older than we are for the most part. And so I have lofty goals. I'm gonna keep on moving, keep on doing. I want to help 100 million people. I want to serve till I'm 100. I just wake up each and every day excited and joyful. Thank you, Leah, for reminding me of that. That simple thing, sharing the love, sharing the joy. And I'm just excited to share with you a couple thoughts of things that I learned in this weekend. And I'm gonna just get with you here, and I'm gonna be a little real, a little raw. I hope I don't get too teary-eyed because it was powerful. It was really powerful. And I just want to share a couple of thoughts of what I learned. And you're just going to have to grab the replay to hear it all. But I'm going to start with some cool stuff I learned from Leah Valencia Key's bestie, Jamie Kern Lima. She is so cool. She literally built from the ground up $1 billion business in IT Cosmetics. Maybe you've heard her story. She's been on Oprah. She crushed it on QVC. Like she is so amazing. She literally built up this cosmetic business. But it wasn't overnight. It was literally through years and years of struggle and grit. And I just thank you, Jamie, for sharing the real deal, your story, the struggle, how your faith and your work got you through this to the point where not only did you sell this IT Cosmetics for over $1 billion, but you became the first woman CEO of this huge multi-country. I mean, it's all over the world. L'Oreal, it's just probably the largest cosmetic company in the world. She became the first woman CEO of that company. And she just crushed it. Like she was such a gift. I felt like she was raw. She was real. She kind of really shared with us her heart. And a couple of things that I love that she talked about. She talked about the belief, right? How she believed it. She wrote a book called Believe It. And even though she got so many no's, literally hundreds of no's, finally she started to get yeses. But it was through her grit, which was largely propelled by her belief. You've got to believe. And one of the things she said that really stuck with me is that your setbacks, all these no's and all these rejections, your setbacks can be your setups, right? Don't just stop with the no or stop with the setback. They can literally be your setup. The other thing that she said that touched me was that not only can these setbacks be your setups. I'm trying to scroll back to my notes here. But she shared some other things about the process, right? Like she believed, and she had to get gritty, and she had to just go and do, and it all worked out. Rejection is God's protection. Maybe in the beginning, she wasn't ready yet. She wasn't ready to get a yes. Rejection is God's protection. And she had to learn a couple of things. And when she finally started getting yeses, she was prepared, and she just went out and just asymptotically, like, exponentially grew, and her company crushed it. But the process was not easy. Holy crap, it was full of tons of grit, but she kept believing. She kept believing in herself, believing in the will of the man upstairs, believing in the will of the great power, the universe, God, whatever you want to call. But she believed, and then she went out and she went for it. She went out and got it. So she said, rejection is God's protection, and setbacks are our setups. So there was another great speaker that came at the end of day one, Rudy Riskins, who's such an incredible human. This guy is so cool. He is from South Africa. He's a business strategist, business coach. He's been in Forbes magazine. Like, he is such a skillful, trained, he is high performance in every part of that word. He has helped companies just double, triple, 10x their businesses. He's had a bunch of super successful businesses. He's lived through a bunch. He's had struggles and hardship, but he has learned the simple power of just a startup to the day, a daily ritual, right? You guys have heard of this priming thing that Tony Robbins does, and the beginning of your day, each and every day, as Rudy shared a couple of different times. He did a main stage keynote, which was out of this world. He also did an hour training at the small group day, which was really cool. We had workshop day, and we got to ask Rudy questions, and he got into like what that looks like for him, what that morning routine looks like. And let me just tell you that how you do your day is largely up to you. You get to decide. And those first 15, 20 minutes of the day, like, make that your own, right? I've shared with you my morning ritual. The first thing I do, I don't hit the phone. I put the phone away. I don't even have the phone for the first probably hour or more of my day. And I have that moment with myself, with God, with my thoughts, my feelings. I plan out the day, right? I write down my 3 top priority items for the day. I do a little moment of gratitude where I send a couple of messages to either family or friends, a couple of thank yous, and my high ticket items. And I also move my body in that first hour of the day, or first 20 minutes, whatever that looks like for you. If I can get outside, get that sunlight to hit my eyes, that's magical. Helps with my sleep each and every night to get out and get the sun, but also helps with just my presence to be out in nature. If I can, I slip my shoes off, do some grounding, right? But I also put my hand over my heart, and I try to do some deep breathing during that time, try to visualize not only my day, what's set up, but my future goals and dreams. And Rudy explains the science of this and the importance of it. He even shared an amazing story about how he had this goal to get on a yacht with his wife, and it was going to cost him, it was just like an afternoon on a yacht, but just that afternoon was like $4,000. And he envisioned it. He thought, okay, I'm going to either earn this or I'm going to win it. There was like a contest to win it. And he just thought about it each and every day. He visualized it. He thought, okay, what is it that I'm going to feel when I'm there with my wife? We're watching the sun go down. He literally visualized this thing every single day. I think it was for a couple of months. And at the end of the day, crazy story. So he didn't win the trip, but his neighbor did. His neighbor actually won it, and his neighbor invited him and his wife to come with him. So he got to have that experience with his wife. And I have no doubts in my mind that his practice of daily meditation, of visualization, of bringing that future feeling into the now. What is that going to feel like? What is that going to look like? And each and every day you can do this. And it doesn't have to take a long time. Can just take a couple of minutes. You can do it in 10. I've done it in 10. I mean, trust me, I got 6 kids. I got to get my kids up really early. Like legit, they take the bus and they leave before 7. It's dark outside. So I got to get them up by 6. I got to get myself up before that. But I have some moments where I do some deep breathing, I do some visualization, I get pumped up for the day. I think about my goals, both the goals of that day and that week and that month, but also my next several year goals and who I ultimately want to be, to become. And I visualize it. I feel it. What is it going to be like to feel like that Dude, that guy, the first surfer to keep surfing at 100 years old, what is that going to feel like? Well, I can tell you, I've ridden thousands and thousands of waves, and every one is different. It's unique. It's probably why I love surfing so much. There's no wave that's the same every single time. Maybe in Kelly Slater's wave pool, he can make every wave the same. And hey, Kelly, if you're listening, bro, I would love to sample that. But what's so cool about surfing is that typically it's never the same twice, right? You have different wind, different tide, different swell directions. And even if it's the same wave that seems mechanical and perfect, there's a few out there, the so-called point breaks, which seem like they're almost like a wave pool in the sense they churn out pretty epic, pretty perfect waves one after the other, but they do change. They can change within seconds or minutes as the wind shifts. It can completely change the setup, or as the tide drops, or as the tide comes in, it can literally change. And that's what I love so much about surfing. So I feel the feels of what that's going to be like at 100 years old, surfing, dropping into that wave. I'm going to be all joy. I'm going to be like Leah Valencia Key. I'm going to be smiling. I hope you'll be around to witness it. I can't wait. And so if you don't follow Rudy Rickskins, you got to do that. He is such a cool dude. I appreciated meeting him and hanging with him, and following him. We had another amazing human, Coot Blackson, just shared his heart. He shared his journey. He is so cool. Like he's also got a super fun accent like Rudy does. So fun to listen to, but he was powerful. Like he literally made us listen to that voice, made us pause, because we all have inklings, whisperings of what we should do, future, plans and things. And he shared an experience of when he went to Bali, kind of on one of these whispers that he kind of felt that he should go. He didn't know exactly why, but he ended up being in the right place at the right time, literally in the jungle, met a guy that he had hoped to meet and work with a decade earlier, and things didn't work out. This was a producer of big time Emmy winning, television and other programs. And he got to meet him on this trip to Bali in the middle of the jungle that he didn't even know the purpose of his visit there. And he literally got to sit and chat with this guy for a couple hours, and they kind of became friends, and it all worked out. Like he was having this wish and desire to do this a decade earlier, and it didn't happen. And so, as Jamie Kerlima said, your setbacks can be your setups. And Rebecca Zung, she shared one of the things that I love to hear about is that we don't attract what we want, we attract what we are. So when we work on ourselves, I'm going to say that again, we don't attract what we want, but we attract what we are. So be the human that you want to become. Be that person. Good things will happen. People will think what you tell them to think. She shared a cool experience about how she was one of the only lawyers trained also at the time in the type of law she was doing. And she took years off to study finance. So she could have, told people, well, I'm a flake. I stopped law for a while because I wanted to do finance. But instead, what she really did is she became one of the first lawyers to have this financial expertise and background. And she told people, look, this is what I am. I have this finance training. I'm also expert, lawyer, and I have these two qualities. And she basically told people what to think. And sometimes we need to do that. We need to tell people what to think. And we can stand in our authentic power, as she shared in her whole workshop, which was incredible and out of this world. I shared with you already a little bit of what Leah Valencia Key shared about living with joy, living with just that smile and heart full of love. And one of the things that she shared repeatedly is that love is an action word, right? It's doing things. You don't just say to people, oh, I love you, you're amazing, but you do stuff. You support them. If they're bringing a product to the world, you buy their product. Or if they have a book, you buy their book. Or maybe you buy a dozen books. Maybe you buy 50 of them and you give them away to family, friends in your community. I can't even tell you how I hate to brag on my wife, Brooke, but she is incredible like this. She is the biggest support of so many people, so many friends. Like she'll buy 50 of your books and give them to her mastermind. Like she doesn't just say, hey, friend. I love you. I'll support you. But she is in the doing part of things. Like love is an action word. And I've learned this a lot with my kids. Like they notice if you just tell them ad nauseum, I love you, but you're not doing crap, like you're not spending time with them, you're not helping them when they need your help, you're not present with them. And this is something sadly I've only learned recently in the last couple of years. I spent many years of my life away from my kids because I was working 80 to 100 hours a week. And now I still work lots and lots of hours, but I do it a little bit differently. And when they have a moment and they need me, I press pause and I do everything I can to be present with them. And it makes all the difference. So love is an action word. You got to be present with them. Rachel Luna talked about journaling, and I'm just going to say it. If she's listening or watching, I just got a brand new journal and I started writing in it today. I used to journal every single day as a kid. I had an amazing example. My grandfather, rest in peace, Grandpa Don, just the coolest guy. He lived to almost 95 years old with type 1 diabetes. As you guys know, my daughter has type 1 diabetes. And so knowing that you can live a full, blessed, thriving life with this disease for a good long time it means the world to me, especially as I'm bringing up my daughter with this challenge. And this guy, my grandfather, like he wrote in a journal every single day. Like, I don't know if he even missed a day in his adult life. Like he shared that with me. And for a time, I did a decade or more where I literally wrote in a journal each and every day. And I've kind of got a little slack on that. I still write in a journal occasionally, but I just decided, you know what? Rachel challenged us, Rachel Luna at Girl Confidence. She challenged us to write in a journal each and every day. And this actually is in sync with a lot of what the other speakers shared, like Rudy. We got to write the things down that we want. What are our goals? Our goals are dreams, but they have deadlines. Like we got to go after it. And if we don't keep ourselves accountable, it just may not happen. They just keep being dreams, and we want them to actually materialize. Don't you? Don't you want your wildest dreams to come true? The things that you really want in life, who you want to become, who you want to be, who you want to be with. Don't you want that to actually happen? Well, get a journal and start writing it down. So thank you, Rachel Luna, for that reminder. I've gotten mine going, and wouldn't that be amazing if she just kept saying, like, write it down, and then you write down what you want out of life, and you do the goal process on a weekly, if you can sit down with your significant other, your spouse, and sort of do that on a weekly basis, and then a monthly check-in, and then a 3-month check-in. My wife and I, we shared at a kind of a really fun open couples. We did like a little couples presentation. People got to ask us questions, and one of the questions was, how do we do it? How do we stay happy, stay engaged? We're both wildly busy doing so many different things. And one of the things that has helped us so much is this practice of coming together once a week, talking about, sort of our goals, dreams, plans for the week. And then monthly, and more importantly, every quarter, we shut out the world. We leave our busy schedules and we just go away, the two of us. Usually it's for 2 nights on average. Sometimes we might luck out and get 3, but we try to go out every quarter away, and we leave our kids, and, they have somebody watching over them, but we leave everything behind, including our 6 kids, for 2 nights, 3 days. And we vision cast, we dream together, we plan our future, we connect, we take time to just be together as a couple with no distractions. We're not on these things, right? We're our devices are put away and we're connecting eye to eye, heart to heart. And that's been one of the biggest things that's helped us stay married for 26 years together. And we are, it's crazy to even think about, more in love now than ever. And this process of taking the time to journal, to dream, to have an accountability partner. My wife, I can't think of a better one. And so I would encourage you this January, we're coming down to the last week of January, to get yourself a journal, start writing your dreams down. Make sure to be following along carefully for the announcements of how to get access to this amazing event, Align Breakthrough, which we just had in San Antonio last weekend. In fact, we announced something super cool, that we're having the Align 2025 event also in January, and we announced the dates. I think it was 22nd through 24th. Let me just pull up my calendar. I don't want to say this wrong, but January uh, 22nd, yeah, through 24th of 2025. And if you get your tickets now, you actually get to be involved. Never been done before. You get to help pick where the location will be. We have a couple of options, and only the people who register in advance and grab those tickets will actually get to be able to be part of that decision process. Super fun, super exciting. And holy crap, you'll save a whole bunch of money if you grab those tickets in the next few hours. I think the deadline is coming up for the early tickets. But check that out at my wife's website, Align Events Live. And I just want to part with a couple words that I gleaned from Trent Shelton. He was so much fun to listen to. I mean, he was just crushing it. He shared some really cool stories about folks that he's worked with, and he was just wisdom, and truth bombs, like all throughout. I just appreciated so much of what he shared, and really, what he shared was about guarding our peace, and this really struck home for me. Every year, my wife and I, decide what word sort of calls our name. Last year for me, it was joy, and joy, oh my gosh, is the world to me. It's just, joy is what life is. This year, my word was peace. And as you know, he has an upcoming book, Protect Your Peace, and he talks all about how to do that. And he shared a bit about this in his talk. And he one of the stories he shared was about a guy who, I think he was $1 billion+ guy, like one of the wealthiest men in the world, and yet right in his very home there was a huge void. He had a teenage daughter that he wasn't connecting with. He felt like he'd given her everything, right? She had, whatever fancy car and the latest iPhone or whatever, all the things, but that connection was kind of lost. And Trent asked her, he said, "Hey, well, on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being I'm spending a bunch of time with her, 1 very little, like how much time are you spending with your daughter to connect?" And he was like, maybe a 0.5, like not even a 1 out of a scale to 1 to 5. Like it dawned on him that, holy crap, if he's going to have the relationship that he wants, he's got to put some time into it. And I get it. It's not just the physical time. Like if you just sit on the couch and you never speak to each other and you're putting in lots of time sitting there, like it's also the quality of that time, but you got to start with putting in the time. And so this guy was challenged by Trent to change that, to actually spend time with his daughter. And it really, really helped. And it was just, you got to have those priorities. You got to make time in your life for the things that really, really matter, because you don't want to be, uber rich and feel empty inside, or be uber rich and have terrible health. Like I've seen that. I've seen guys that have all the money in the world and they die in their 50s or early 60s because they didn't take care of themselves. They didn't take care of themselves. I don't want that to be you. So it is early. We are still at the beginning of the year. I am so pumped because we get to keep doing this. We get to keep sharing. We get to keep growing and learning and thriving. I don't want you to just simply survive your life. I want you to thrive. So I'm going to give you an opportunity right now. I want you to reach out and message me either on Instagram, Dr. Thomas Hemingway, Dr. Thomas Hemingway, Facebook. Message me, send me an email, alohasurfdoc@gmail.com. I want to know this year, 2024, what your dreams, what your goals are. And I want you to tell me what you would like to have more of, what you would like to learn about more on my podcast, what you would like to, questions you have about your health, about how to thrive and not survive in life. I want you to message me. I'd love to hear from you. I also want you to know that you can join my Thrive community, where you'll get more of me. We do live Zoom calls. We talk, we share, I answer your questions. You're in a text thread, group messenger thread with me, and you can drop questions and comments, and it's so much fun because you're also aligned with like-minded individuals who also want to thrive and not simply survive life. So make sure you check that out. You can see it over there on my Instagram down at the bottom, all the links there. And if you haven't got a copy of my book, Preventable, you got to grab that. You got to grab that because it is powerful. It can change your life. I'm also going to be giving away a couple of copies. So if you haven't dropped a review over on Apple for the podcast or on Amazon of the book, do that and be entered to win. And more than anything, just know how grateful I am. A big thank you, a big mahalo. None of this would be possible without you. And so until next time, a big aloha. Thanks for watching, and remember to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you never miss out. Aloha.